Check, check. Guys, let me know when you can hear me. Good morning. We can hear you, see you, hear you. Great. 10-4. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Glad you enjoyed the thumbnail. Sound and video, all good. Love it, guys. Love it, love it, love it. Kristi will be joining us in a little bit. So you've got me solo for a minute here. How is everyone doing? How's everybody doing? Let's see. Let me get situated here. Awesome. Nope. I don't like that the new Mac software does that. All right, here we go. All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Ross, I am doing well. I'm a little tired. Not going to lie, a little tired. Katie has developed a new bad habit in the middle of the night where she gets bored, I think, when the rest of us are trying to sleep. So 3:30 in the morning, she wants attention. And so, yeah. So yeah, for the last, I think 3 weeks straight, I've been jolted out of my sleep at 3:30 in the morning. So I'm always a little tired in the morning now. So, Ray, switch my Polk R700s for home theater duty to a 2-channel setup for music. Oh my God. They're good speakers. Sorry, not sorry. They are good speakers. The R700s, I don't think they're underrated. I think they've been around long enough now that I believe that the word has gotten out and they have been sufficiently covered. But that doesn't mean, even though they're a couple of years old now at this point, that doesn't mean that they're obsolete or something to overlook even today. I think they're incredibly competitive today. So yeah, not surprised. Vadim, noticing those pretty little speakers in the background, doing better because of it. Yep. Those are the Biolab 8s, and yes, I have had them out in the front of my room, just because I need a break, and whenever I need to like cleanse my audio palette a little bit and take a step back and focus, I always put my B&O products into circulation. And so these have been out for, I don't know, 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks now, as my daily driver. And I don't even think my review did them justice. The more time that I spend with them and the more time that I get to compare them to things here and there all the time, I'm just like, man, these are impressive. These are impressive, especially when you consider that to play in this level of performance and customization and connectivity and things like that. Like, I know that they're expensive. I do. I get it. But at the same time, we just reviewed, the Sonus Faber Concertino G4 last week. And we can talk about that too. And you're talking about $5,000 for the speakers, before stands, before amps, before preamps, before streamers, da-da-da-da-da. And those are brilliant speakers. I absolutely loved them. But it's not difficult to build a system around those speakers, as great as they are, and end up at a price point much higher than the Biolab 8s. And I think that's something that people kind of lose sight of. I think they get focused on the immediate sticker shock of anything. It's not just B&O, it's just the immediate sticker shock of anything. And we lose that perspective, of kind of like, what is the longer term value? And I know some of you are gonna be like, but you just wait until it breaks, then what are you gonna do? And it's like, that's a possibility for absolutely everything you buy. It really is. It's not the whole, what if it breaks conversation does not only strictly apply to costly things. Now, if you're looking at it from the standpoint of Oh, but yeah, but if I spend $400 and it breaks, I'm not, I'm not out as much. No, you still are. You're out $400. You're out the total of your purchase too. Same as me. Now you may sit there and some people may argue, yeah, but $400 is less than $6,000. It's still money. It was still your investment in something. It was still your hard-earned cash, and you're out. So it's all really relative. I just think that lately, especially in the last couple of years, there's been this growing wave of kind of angst and hatred towards, I don't know, things that maybe aren't for everybody, but at the same time, that doesn't make them wrong. So, Mr. Martini, I'm sorry that it was a ball buster of a week. Hopefully, your weekend will be good, and you'll get to come down from whatever ailed you this week. Relaxed Human, Andrew, when are you going to review Arundel 1528? No idea. I've asked for him. Arundel has seen my requests. They've seen my emails. I don't know why they won't respond. So I don't know. I have no idea if that's ever going to happen or not. Okay, let's see here, guys. I just saw a question that is germane to how I wanted to start today's topic. But again, if you got other things you guys want to discuss, you know what to do. Harman, Bowers & Wilkins buyout opinion, please. Well, for starters, and this is why I made the thumbnail the way that I did, is I know that it says Harman Group buys Sound United and their portfolio brand of products, but really Harman is owned by Samsung. They're a subsidiary now of Samsung. So really, you have Samsung that owns all of Harman and now Sound United. And so that means JBL, Mark Levinson, Lexicon, Revel, I guess if you want to argue if Infinity and Harman Kardon are still brands, but now that includes Bowers & Wilkins, Class A, Polk Audio, Definitive Technology, Denon, and Marantz. That's a lot of brands. That's a lot of brands. And let's not mince words. That's a lot of brands that for decades have directly competed with one another. For example, Mark Levinson in Class A, go back into the 90s, early 2000s. Those two were neck and neck. Look at Bowers & Wilkins and Revel. Those two were neck and neck. Arcam Marantz, Arcam Denon, things like that. Like, there's a lot of parity here. There's a lot of overlap. And so it's going to be really interesting. I think if you're Sound United and you're one of their brands, this is a good thing for the immediate present. I do believe that. I don't think that Massimo really wanted to keep them. I think they were going to keep them as long as they could or until they found a buyer, and then they found a buyer. I mean, Massimo took a massive loss on this. Massive loss. What did they buy? They bought Sound United or financed, or the deal for Sound United was worth $1 billion, a little over $1 billion 3 some years ago, to sell for $350 million cash. I mean, Samsung, to their credit, I mean, they got a screaming deal, and Massimo bordered on torpedoing their entire company with this very, very poor business move on their part. But I hate to say it, but I'll keep it at 100. It's not as if Harman's acquisition by Samsung has necessarily yielded, just this boom of Harman products. I mean, when was the last time, you heard really anything that was really new, pushing the envelope, wasn't just kind of a mid-tier refresh of something from Revel? You know what I mean? When was the last time Lexicon was really doing stuff? I mean, RCAM has kind of come on a little bit lately, and I know Munich's going on right now, and Mark Levinson has 3 new products, but I got to be honest with you. And again, I haven't heard any of this stuff. I'm just going by the information that exists out there, and it's not as if the Mark Levinson stuff is all that new either. It's new for 2025. It definitely has a little bit of a new look, but it's not necessarily like, hey, we've taken the billions of dollars of whatever that Samsung has in their coffers, and we've opened it up to the Harman brands. No. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. You always hope that Samsung / Harman will be hands off and just let the brands do what they want. But I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting because there's a lot of overlap between both conglomerates now that are one conglomerate, and there's just as much. What's the word I'm looking for? There's just as much dead weight, if you will, in those brands. And so I don't know. Time will tell. I think, again, short term, Massimo and Sound United. Massimo needed to get Sound United off their books, and Sound United needed to find a new buyer and things like that. So on the short term, I think it's a good thing. Samsung got a smoking deal at $350 million. But long term, what does it all mean? We're going to have to wait and see. Sorry, Kristi's just getting situated. If you hear her bump her microphone, I apologize.
I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good.
You nailed it.
Nailed it. Are we talking about Sound United and Samsung?
Sound United, Samsung, Harman. Yes.
Oh boy. Can't wait.
Yeah. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on it. There's not really too much more information as to like deal points and things like that beyond what's publicly out there. But I'm kind of seeing some of you kind of agreeing, yeah, I think we're all sort of in the same boat here, where it's just sort of like patiently wait and see, hope for the best. Definitely fear the worst. Best case scenario, what's most likely is it all shakes out somewhere in the middle.
I mean, Mark Levinson just released some new products out of nowhere.
We were talking about. I mentioned that a little bit, but I also said that I didn't think that it was entirely new stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's a new face, and maybe there's a few little bells and whistles, but it's kind of Mark Levinson doing what Mark Levinson has done for at least the last 20 years, you know? So.
Right, but they still came out with something, which is not something that has happened in a good while.
No, I think their last product launch or product release was like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was headphones and like a turntable. I think that was the last thing they did. So anyway, yeah, I agree with you, Vadim. I think Samsung has purchased a lot of brands for the purposes of IP, not necessarily for the purposes of like continuing the brands in earnest. So yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. Good evening from South Korea. Oh, okay. Samsung's swallowing up the industry again. After acquiring AKG, Harman dismissed most of its engineers. It ended up as a car audio brand. You're not necessarily wrong. So, Mr. Martini says the real star of the show has arrived. Cheers on that one.
Hey, everybody. I took some personal time this morning. I went on a walk, got some of my steps in.
Yep.
And now I'm here. I don't like these early start times. That's my problem. I would be more comfortable. We could do this We could start this like around lunch, after lunch.
I'm trying to
don't
get
know.
some of
Mid-morning?
I'm trying to include some of our European and Australian fans. That's why we start a little earlier. This is funny, or not funny, but this is a good question, James. The real question is, which brand will be dropped? I think it will be Denon. I don't know. I don't think Denon's going to get dropped anytime soon. I think Denon and Marantz, along with Bowers and Wilkins, are probably the more valuable of some of the brands that they purchased, to be honest. I could see Class A officially going away. This is speculation, and this is my opinion. Warning, speculation, my opinion. I could see Class A going away.
So what are all the brands? It's Polk.
You have Polk Audio, Definitive Technology. I could see them going away. Marantz, Denon, Bowers and Wilkins, JBL on a lot of different levels. You got JBL kind of consumer entry, JBL synthesis. You've got Revel. I could see Revel going away. I think Bowers and Wilkins is worth more than Revel, personally. At this point, maybe 20 years ago, that wasn't the case, but definitely now. Polk Audio, I think, will stay. I think I could see JBL's entry level stuff going away, like sticking to like just party speakers, Bluetooth speakers, to compete with Klipsch, and then letting Polk Audio be the speaker company while they take JBL more towards heritage, upmarket synthesis stuff. Lexicon's probably all but dead at this point.
Are we allowed to talk about the JBL announcement that just came out?
Yeah, it's at Munich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they? $50,000 speakers?
Yeah, they relaunched the Summit, the JBL Summit series, which, if some of you remember, I think it was in the early 2000s. There was Summit and Everest and K2 and all that stuff, and they were really popular. Well, they brought some of those kinds of products back at Munich. There's a big tower, a medium tower, and a bookshelf. The bookshelf speakers start at 20 grand for the pair. The medium towers are 33,000 for the pair. And then the big boys are 50 grand for the pair. So yeah, it's, I'm sure there's a market for that particular speaker. The look of it is, I don't know, the look of it looks a little bit like a slightly more mature, what was that JBL bookshelf speaker, the 49, was it 4913? It was kind of smaller, had the blue grills, the exposed horn, and then like the walnut wood sides. We reviewed it last year, I think it was. They kind of look like growed up versions of that speaker, but in either piano gloss black or kind of a very stripy tiger wood with gold copperish accents a la, do you guys remember Klipsch Palladium from back in the day? Like the Klipsch Palladium, Klipsch did a speaker in the early 2000s where they actually, what's the word I'm looking for? They collaborated with, I believe it was Porsche Design Group, and they came out with a speaker called the Palladium. And it was a remarkable speaker, but if I'm not mistaken, it was an absolute sales disaster. It just wasn't what the Klipsch faithful, I think, wanted, despite the speakers being very, very good. The new JBLs kind of reminded me of the Klipsch Palladium products. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Okay, I saw that I had a comment up here. We'll get back to some of these more questions regarding mergers and stuff like that. So if you've got something more specific you want to talk about. But I do want to make sure, if Nico, if you're still live with us, Nico says, it's great to finally see you live. Your views were a huge help lately because I got deep into hi-fi when I noticed how much music can catch me emotionally. And that is, in my opinion, Nico, thank you so much for the super chat, for your support. But that is, to me, what it's all about. Like, I know that toys and tech and all that stuff can be really fun and stuff like that. And we all love to tinker and play. But at the same time, if it doesn't hit me here, if it doesn't make me want to keep engaging with it, it can be as great as everyone says it is. It can be as wonderful as all the measurements prove it to be. But if I don't want to spend time with it, I'm afraid it's kind of lost on me. And we ran up against this pretty hard on the Marantz Model 10 review a couple weeks ago. I can't really fault the product. I can't. It was good. It did everything it said it was going to do. Price notwithstanding, I mean, you're free to price something however you want. So let's ignore the price. It was well built, performed as advertised, and really did, I think, deliver on what Marantz set out to do. Even if you read their own press releases and white papers and the website about the product, I think they hit the mark. So I can't fault the product for that. Same as the NAD M33. I can't really fault it. I just didn't really enjoy it. And at the end of the day, you know, this is a channel as much about the information and the technology and the toys of it all, but it is also my opinion, or my and Kristi's opinion, on what it's like to live with these products. And for me at least, it wasn't that I didn't enjoy it. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I felt I should, especially if I was a customer investing this type of money into a product. I would want to come away with a slightly different experience. And so, yeah, for me, the final checkbox, Nico, is always like, does it stir something in me? Does it make me want to continue to engage in it? Because the longer I've been in this hobby, the longer, the older I've gotten, the more that has become more important to me than a number on a spec sheet. So great question. Really appreciate it. So, okay, King of Bluegrass. I'm going to do my best to answer you here. What do you think of the prime pinnacles from SVS Towers? Okay, give me a second. King of Bluegrass. Appreciate the super chat. Let me just make sure I'm looking at the right thing for you here. Prime pinnacles, because it's been a minute. SVS Prime Pinnacle speaker. Okay, yeah, this is the older generation. Look, I think SVS has always made solid, approachable, high-performing loudspeakers for the money. However, I think with the new Evolution series, from the Nano on up to the top of the line one above the Titans, which maybe, Kristi, do you remember is it the Pinnacle?
The Pinnacle is above the Titan,
Yeah,
I think.
okay. So that whole series, I think, has ratcheted up SVS's standing in the market. And I think that that speaker line specifically has moved them a little bit more towards a higher end, or a more discerning clientele. Whether you want to believe me with that or not, or you agree with me, that's all subjective, and everyone's free to have their opinion. My opinion is they've taken that next step. And so their whole product line right now, to me, has gone a little bit above now the internet brand darling to something that deserves to be mentioned along the same lines as B&W, Revel, so on and so forth. I would love to see them address their finishes a little bit more. I would love to see them step that up a little bit more. I'm not knocking the construction of their products. They're very well crafted for the price, but I think they are just a little bit of industrial design away, just little tweaks away from being like legitimate high-end contenders. I really, really do. And I do think that the new Revolution line that include the Titans that we use as a reference, they are a step up from the Pinnacles, the Prime Pinnacles from previous generation. But at the same time, I understand that all of those previous generation speakers are on deep, deep discount, and they may represent a financial arbitrage opportunity where you can get a lot of speaker for a little bit of money. Gerard, going from Canta 3s to Sopra 2s next week. Better choice out there than a Macintosh MA352. Gerard, let me look up the MA352 because, guys, I do my best to stay on top of all of this, but I can't always keep everything straight. 352. Okay, this is the hybrid. Okay, this is the hybrid stereo integrated. So we've got like a tube front end, tube preamp mixed with solid state. I'm showing 200 watts into 8, 320 into 4, tone controls. Yeah, I think you're going to be fine. I haven't put these two together myself, so I can't sit here and say definitively like, yes, you know, go blah, blah, blah. But I have put, you know, Macintosh with these types of speakers from Focal, and there's never been an issue. It's never been an issue. So I think you are going to be very pleasantly not surprised. I think you're going to have a good time. Please come back in the comments or in our next live stream when this all happens and let me know what you think. So there we go. I think that caught me up. What are we talking about here? You and Chris are bagging on me?
I'm not bagging on you. I'm just
Andrew
telling
pretty
the
much
truth.
won't watch horror flicks, so no, haven't seen Sinners. Okay. It's not.
Where's the lie?
Where's the lie?
That's what I thought.
Oh, man. Okay. All right.
Well, Chris likes that movie and says it was the most well-made movie that he's seen in a decade.
Well, it's on my list of movies to watch. What it is?
Such bullshit.
It is. It's.
You are talking right out the side of your ass.
I am not. It is one that I want to see.
Since when? Right now?
No. No,
Yeah.
it's in our queue on Apple, the Apple Store. It's in the queue. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I have to be in the right mood for those types of films. That's all.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway,
You're cute.
Grayson has a question. Have you come across Eclipsa audio co-developed by Google and Samsung? Oh. Their new Dolby surround sound competitor format. I have not come in contact with it. I've not played with it yet. It's something that obviously I'm going to have to dive into when it becomes, you know, a little bit more readily available or products start kind of touting it, so on and so forth. But no, I haven't had the opportunity to dive in and really see what all the fuss or non-fuss is about. But yeah, so no, I'm sorry, but thank you so much for your support. Way down on the queue. Thanks, random help. Whose side are you on? Oh, here's a nice question. Are those B&Os behind you? Yes, they're BioLab 8s. I'm looking at adding to my 28s. How do you like them? I love them. I think they're underrated. As I said earlier in the stream, now that, you know, they've been in our possession and they've been a part of our family now since the review for however many months or maybe a year that's been, I've come to appreciate them even more than I believe I appreciated them in our original review. They will soon not be replaced, but soon be partnered with some other products. So you probably won't be seeing them as fronts in the not too distant future, but they don't sleep on them as fronts. Like, hate to say it, but we have done, they've been our daily driver, like I said, for about a week now. And we've just been using them with AirPlay through the Apple TV for television, movies, music, the whole bit. And I can't say that I've been disappointed. And I'm routinely kind of impressed by like the scale of sound. that they put out. Let's see. There was something else that I saw here. Another question. Hey, Eugene. Hey, do you have any thoughts about balanced audio technology, considering that versus musical fidelity? Yeah, we've requested stuff from balanced audio technology. Like, Kristi, if you want, like a year ago, 2 years ago.
We spoke with MoFi,
Yeah.
who is their distributor,
Yeah.
and like a lot of stuff with MoFi. Nothing comes to fruition. Or if it does, it happens a year or two after the fact. So
Yeah.
don't see it happening, Eugene.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal is there. We have definitely requested it. At this point, I can't say if it's better or worse than the new Vista because I haven't heard it. So new Vista is going to get my vote by default.
The new Vista is awesome.
It really is.
It's really awesome.
really is. So love it. Vadim, member for 35 months.
That's amazing.
You're an OG. Howdy, y'all. What is the one most surprising thing you both have discovered in the last year that you've loved? And that's about anything, not just hi-fi. Last thing that I've discovered that I've loved?
My time.
Yeah.
My time, my sanity. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah, we're pretty much team. I would say we're team perspective, sanity, maximizing time lately, especially this year. I don't know. I think, like kind of what Kristi said, and the realization. I think towards the end of last year, we both saw the need to sort of reassess, recalibrate. And which is why, well, we had the whole family emergency stuff earlier in the year. That definitely shook up the schedule, but it's also shooken up the schedule in such a way that it's the way with which we've come back and the way with which I'm looking at what's on our plate still isn't one of those things where, like, last year it's like, let's just grind. And now I'm kind of like, is this something new enough to talk about? Is this interesting enough for me to talk about? Do I think you guys are going to get anything out of this? What else do I want to talk about? So prioritizing is the surprise, I think, for me, is learning that it's okay to prioritize. And it's also okay to be okay with not only what you have, but kind of where you are. I don't want to be stagnant. I always want to be growing. I always want to be progressing. But growth, progression, change, that can look different. It's not always about scale, size, reach, all of those things. So like for the last couple of weeks, like my personal growth as a creator and for the channel has really not been about, being, it's never really been about being first or anything like that, but it's been focusing on, I want consistency of quality. I don't want each week to be slightly different, or like, I don't want to have a bad week. I want to have, consistency. So then from there we build on to the next thing, because with social media, I feel like we're always just running. And I will admit to you, and you're going to see it in a couple of upcoming videos, Kristi and I ran a lot, like right out of the gate with all of this. And now that we've been at this for several years, especially now in this new space where we definitely came in running because we were like afraid to let the momentum slow, we've realized, like, okay, we've made some mistakes, not from like the information we've given you, but just like who we are as people and how we want to live and what we've welcomed in versus what we can do without. And so we'll be addressing all of that here very, very soon. So those, go ahead.
Oh, I was. Oh, all right, no, I'll let you finish.
No, that was the big
That's it?
surprise to me. Yeah.
To try to give you a more solid answer or an example of something, Vadim, that I have discovered that I like are watches.
That's been fun. My girl is probably a bigger watch freak than I am.
I really have a great appreciation for, I mean, to be honest, I don't care about the mechanical aspects. I'm not even wearing a watch to tell time. I'm just going to be real frank with you. It's a piece of jewelry to me. And I have very expensive taste. No surprise.
Well, you'll say on the one hand that you don't care about the mechanics, and that's true. That's fine.
You know what I mean, though, by
I do.
that.
You're not one of these people who are like, oh, it's not an in-house movement. You're not one of those people. That said, she's a bloodhound, guys, for the intricacies of a good movement. She doesn't realize she is, but the things that she's drawn to because it's fashion, it's jewelry, it's finish, it's attention to detail, those things often come with just stellar mechanics and movements and dials and materials. And so yeah, she happens to get into really, really great watches.
I did actually buy my first watch.
A first watch too.
And
It was a bit of a kind of a, would you call it a birthday?
it was a spur of the moment.
Spur of the moment, yeah.
Spontaneous decision, if you will. I just felt like, I felt like I deserved it.
Yeah. You had earned it. You had earned it.
So I bought it for myself, and I bought a used JLC,
Yep, JLC Reverso.
and it's gorgeous.
It's very nice, and she wears it out when we go out to dinner and stuff, and it looks great on you.
Thank you.
Looks great.
I do enjoy wearing. I don't wear it very often, but when we go out for, dinner or drinks or something, or nowhere special, but just we don't go out. We don't leave the house often.
No.
So when we do leave, it's typically to do something a little nice, and I will wear it. And I've never been a watch wearer. I do have an Apple Watch that I wear all the time
Yes.
because my competitive nature
Got to close those
has
rings.
to close those damn rings. And so I do wear that, but I've never worn a watch ever. And so I was really honestly shocked that I have become so interested in them. I don't know if anyone else has a similar story or whatnot, but I love the JLC. It's absolutely gorgeous. I bought it in Dallas at, oh my gosh, do you remember the name of that? Eisman or something?
Yeah. They've been very great. If you're in the Dallas area,
Their store is located in North Park Mall
yeah.
in Dallas, which is probably the nicest mall to ever have been
Eisman.
built. So beautiful still after all these years. Anyway, they're there.
Yeah, it's Eisman Jewels. They just opened their new store. In fact, when you bought your JLC from them, that was the last evening that they were going to be in their old space because their new space in that mall just opened up. And if you happen to be in Dallas, Texas, and you want to look at some really nice watches, or you're on the market for a watch, I can't say enough good things about Eisman Jewels in Dallas. Go ask to
Do you remember her name?
Julia.
Julia.
Ask for Julia. She is just an absolute joy, and she will give you excellent, excellent customer service. She's checked in on Kristi 2-3 times since the purchase, just to make sure everybody's happy and good, and so I can't say enough good things about them. All right, I have got a bunch of questions. Your watch conversation spurred on a bunch, so here we go.
Okay.
Dark Knight, thanks to you, I got the 7000 ES, love it. Next, I'm considering upgrading to the SVS Ultra Evolution series from the Klipsch RP line. Thoughts? I co-sign that move. I think while they're going to be similar in kind of, if you're a Klipsch fan, I think you'll really like the SVS. I think the SVS is a more refined product. I think it's a little bit more, especially once you get into the towers. I'm going to speak to the Titan specifically. There's a coherence of sound that I haven't been able to replicate with Klipsch RP products. Not that the Reference Premier line is bad. There's just a better, greater coherence and solidity of sound with the Titans and that line in general. 7000 drives them brilliantly, so I don't think you have anything to worry about. I think you're going to have a good time. Ooh, I love this question. Nick, I'm here. Hope all is well. I'm having an issue with echoes where I record my videos. Would those foam panel pieces help? I have slanted ceiling in the studio space, is maybe 5 by 10. Would they help? They will definitely help a little bit of the slap echo, which is what you're experiencing. However, I don't know if you want a permanent solution or something that you can just kind of put up when you're filming and then easily take down when you're not. I don't know if this is going to be as cost effective as the foam panels, but it can be a, call it temporary or only when necessary solution. Get moving blankets. I'm dead serious. Like Amazon, I think they sell a pack of 3 or 4 moving blankets. They're black on one side, white on the other, whatever. Put some little eye hooks, like, you know, the planter holders, Nick, like the little, you screw them in and it's just a little hook and then you can hang like your planted pots. Put those in the ceiling instead of doing your whole ceiling in the slap and the foam. And just, because the moving blankets have grommets, just hook them on there. They're going to come down, and then just put them in a way that they kind of create like a V around you, or they're directly in front. So if you're filming and your camera or your phone or whatever you use to film is here, put them right behind your phone, or kind of create a triangle with them. And so you'll be amazed. You will be amazed because your sound's going to go like this straight into them. It's not going to start bouncing around. Those, in my opinion, work better than the foam egg crate stuff. And if you don't, when you're done using it, you just pop them off the hooks, fold them up, slide them under the couch, or put them off to the side, and you're good to go. So, great question. Currently have Denon 3700H, Focal Cora Towers Center, Focal Dome to make up a 5.1.4. Should I look at the AVR amp or speakers to upgrade next? I mean, if you're happy with it, I mean, what about it is making you feel like you need to upgrade? If everything is being driven properly and you've gotten enjoyment out of it, I don't know what you would upgrade unless you want to say go to more channels, in which case you got to add speakers, or maybe your receiver needs to go up a tier to support that many speakers. But at the same time, if it's all dialed in and it's working for you, I would urge you to at least consider setup tweaks or tweaks to the EQ, Odyssey DRAC, or whatever before you go and spend more money on gear. Unless there is something that you are noticing where you're like, oh man, I forgot to write this in my question. I don't like the way it sounds at all, in which case I need more information.
I would say hammer to upgrade your television especially if you haven't done that in a while.
Yeah.
Go bigger.
Go bigger, go brighter.
Get something newer. Yeah. I think you can get as much enjoyment upgrading that part of your system as you can maybe,
True.
going down some rabbit hole of tweaking the sound system.
Yeah, true. Riley, you've made the point that it's easier to flatten a V than to raise one in reference to speakers. Why can't you lower the mids to create a V? You could lower the mids. I'm always a proponent of taking things down rather than boosting. So when you boost a frequency, So let's say you have a hypothetical ruler flat speaker, okay, and you want more treble. So you start boosting the treble frequency, or you want more bass, and you start boosting the treble frequencies. Anytime you add or boost, you introduce the potential for audible distortion and just a myriad of problems. Whereas if something is already kind of like that, not to say that you can't create distortion by bringing it down, but it's usually a better idea than to bring things down than to boost them up. So if you wanted to create a more V-like curve, you could suck the mids out, or you could raise the treble and bass up, whatever gives you that theoretical line that you're chasing. I just don't know how great that's going to sound if you start pulling things like, 500-600 hertz to 1 or 2 kilohertz. You start pulling that down, you could end up with a really kind of muffled sound. Versus when they kind of pull out a little bit around 1 to 2K or 1 to 3K, and then there's a bit of tweeter, that creates just that little hit of contrast, and a lot of people like that. But when you start really grabbing large portions of like the vocal region and you start pulling that down, you run the risk of not giving you that dynamic kind of punchy V-shaped sound, but you may end up something that's a little bit more like this, And so to each their own. The nice thing about EQ is it's non-committal editing. You know what I mean? So you can just do it, listen, go, oh, that's awful, and then put it back. We're not permanently altering anything, and that's what makes EQ and of any sort really kind of fun. I'm just a big proponent of always bringing things down rather than boosting things up to lessen the possibility for distortion or overdriving or whatever word you want to use. Chris, deckware question. Okay, I hate extra boxes, but I've become a sound snob, and I hate noticeable extra noise even more. An external phono stage is an easy solution, but is there a built-in turntable phono stage worth considering? Yeah. I don't pretend to know what your budget is, but the Cambridge Audio Alva TT V2 is a phenomenal, all-inclusive, one-and-done turntable, I think at $13.99 right now. The Alva TT V2. I know there's a model below it. It's going to save, if you go the model below it, it saves you like $200-300 maybe. If you have to save up for the TT V2. The phono preamp in that is phenomenal. Hate to say it, but if you also want to connect it to the smart speakers using Bluetooth, also phenomenal. And if you want to experiment with using phono preamps from other companies, you just flip a switch in the back and it becomes just like any other turntable. Direct drive, everything you need included in the box, tidy, looks the part. I love it. It's the only turntable at this point that is still assembled and that I use. Everything else has been broken down and put back in its factory box because I just like the Alva TT V2, and I'm all about, like you, hate extra boxes, so I'm all about simplicity. But that is my turntable recommendation. Greetings from Poland. I appreciate common sense advice. Based on your opinion, I blindly bought Q Acoustics 5040. Do you sometimes put your finger on Globus? Do you sometimes put your finger on Globus blindly and make decisions? Today Gear from Poland. I don't know how to answer that. I'm so sorry. Do you, Kristi?
What?
Am I misunderstanding this question? I mean, he said he blindly bought Q Acoustic 5040 based on our opinion. And then he writes, do you sometimes put your finger on...
I don't know what Globus is.
I don't either. And then make the decision. I don't understand the question. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I hope that you are enjoying your 5040s.
Justin Roby is thinking maybe they mean, and this was kind of going through my mind, do you sometimes, like, if you were to spin a globe and just kind of like throwing a dart at a board,
Okay.
and just making a decision that way. Sometimes.
As far as like gear we want to consider from which countries, I mean, there's sometimes where a lot of you guys will leave comments on our videos or in the live streams and say things like, hey, would you ever check out something from this? And it just kind of resonates in the back of my head. And I find myself every once in a while where it's like, yeah, what was that? What was that, product? And maybe I don't get the product, the person reference, but I'll go and see like, oh, where's this brand from or whatnot. Sometimes, not always. And if that is the question you're looking to have answered, I hope we did a good job. A great example of it would be the Pit and Giblin that we reviewed a couple of weeks ago. That was something, that review was like almost 2 years in the making because I discovered them and then we were talking via Instagram for almost a year, just kind of chewing the fat because that's how I discovered them or how I came to know about them was through Instagram. And then, just one thing led to another. And over the course of, like I said, close to, I think, 2 years, finally made that review happen. Wirehead, also a watch nerd. Love my ultimate nerd watch in the Milgauss for my work with electronics. I figure it gets me a bit of audiophile cred too. Well, that's great. Gonna have to look that one up. I'm new. I'm new to watches. Oh, yeah. Should have led with Rolex Milgauss. Gotcha. I was unaware that was a Rolex. Well, good for you. That is a nice looking piece.
Was it Baltic that came out with the watch recently that I like? The blue had a kind of vintage blue dial.
Vintage.
Was it from them?
Like the vintage one I shared on stories?
No.
Oh.
No. No, it's not like super expensive. It's not like $500, but.
Baltic had one. I'm trying to think. Breitling came out with.
Nope, not them.
It wasn't Breitling? I don't know. You'll have to come back and
I pinned it on the Pinterest board.
Okay,
for watches.
Okay,
but
well,
you've pinned so many things on top of it. I'll have to.
You'll have to look for it, and you'll have to let Wirehead and the rest of the
Baltic, yeah.
Baltic.
The Scalograph.
Okay, Baltic Scalograph.
Tour Auto 2025. It's a chronograph, I think, where it has the two dials,
yeah.
extra dials in the middle.
Baltic. Oh, yeah. Okay. Limited edition, we're looking at about $2,000 for us in the US. This was a nice looking piece. Yeah, I remember this one. I don't know much about Baltic, but this watch made me want to take a chance. So, glad we figured that one out. Dragonstone. Hey, are you guys going to review fine audio speakers? Never say never. I don't have them on the schedule at the moment. But never say never. I'm aware of them. But I don't believe
We've never had any communication.
We haven't had any communication with them.
As far as I can recall.
Yeah. So that's the best I got for you.
What speaker do you like of theirs, Dragonstone, or do
Yeah.
you have any? Are you familiar with them at all?
Yeah, I like that.
That would be my question. Oh man, my allergies are killing me.
Yeah.
Anyone else in the allergy sucks boat? Random Help wants to know, what is the product that made you most excited in the past year, audio or otherwise? To be honest, at least in this year,
2025, yeah.
we have had more stuff show up broken, missing parts,
Yeah.
just pieces broken off. It's been, this year's kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I can't argue with.
in terms of being able to like truly be excited about something. You know, we'll be excited, you know, knowing something's coming,
Yeah.
and then inevitably it arrives
Busted.
busted.
Yeah.
It's so silly. It's like how is this possible? I don't think we've ever had this many
Problems.
products arrive in non-working condition
Yeah.
than this year.
Yeah. I will say two products. I will say the most exciting products that we've had so far. Pit and Giblin was exciting. That was a good time. That was a lot of fun. That was a great product.
Yeah, but they're one that showed up
There,
not like we had the amount of
yeah, but
bullshit we had to go through with those was unmatched.
yeah,
It's a great product.
it's a great product.
Love the speakers.
It was a great product. There was a pair that was already in the United States floating around, and logistically, it made more sense for that pair to stay in the US and make its trek to us versus a new pair being constructed for the purposes of the review initially. At least that was the thinking. And, you know, honestly, if you stop and think about it, that doesn't seem like a bad strategy. However, the people in charge of packing the product that was already an open box thing from here in the States and getting it to us did something wrong in the packaging, and as a result, yes, those open box demo speakers arrived damaged, in which case the video that you saw that was ultimately the subject of our review, those were made specifically for that review and made the trek from Tassie all the way to us. But yeah, it put a real delay on that when you've been working on the logistics of getting a pair of these things in-house for, I don't know, however many months, almost a year. And then you open the crate and it's just like,
I mean, thank God they sound good.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
sounded good because,
yeah. No, I mean, once the new pair arrived and everything, like, oh, remote notwithstanding, they are a phenomenal product. Absolutely
yeah,
phenomenal.
they're beautiful speakers. I know
Yeah.
some people in the comments of that review questioned whether they were really a solidly built pair of speakers, and
Yeah.
I just didn't understand that at all. I mean, they look and they feel very well made.
Yeah.
The packaging that they arrived in was not the most
arrive in-
solid,
Yeah.
which is, I think, you know, part of what contributed to the shipping errors or
Yeah.
concerns or whatnot. And, you know, that's what I say, you have to think of everything, especially nowadays. Like, and if you're a smaller brand, get ready. You know, if you're going to send your product out for review, you have to, and this goes for the big brands too. You have to think of every last detail.
Yeah. I mean,
From the unboxing, the entire process, delivery, unboxing, user experience, sound, it has to be excellent. And especially if you're going to charge a high dollar, you know. And if you aren't prepared to do that, then you're going to be in for a world of hurt.
Yeah, I think because everything in this world is, at least with technology, like everything kind of percolates at a level of above average, dare I say, excellence. So now to differentiate yourself from the masses, it's about all of the little details. And, you know, I do think that things like remotes and, as Kristi just pointed out, packaging, the ownership experience, the unboxing experience, the post-purchase customer care, like those are the things that are going to take a product from a mass of really good stuff and elevate it. And then when you tack on things like a higher price point or a different, more discerning type of clientele, the expectations just go through the roof. And I think Pitt and Giblin make a bespoke quality product. Their speakers are beautiful. They are well constructed and they look and sound the part. But yeah, they could improve the user experience of getting into their product and interacting with their product. Their customer support is phenomenal. From all the way across the globe. Phenomenal.
And I'm sure if you live there,
Oh, if you live there,
your experience is probably going to be
Yeah.
a lot different.
Yeah.
But when you start dipping your toes into international commerce like that, you just have to really, really look at everything. And I think that they will make adjustments going forward. They're very open to that sort of feedback.
Yeah.
And it's not an issue with just small brands. It's big corporation, mass market, massive, commercial products that are available on the mass market level.
Yeah.
Those businesses don't always think of every little thing either. And that, to me, that's a little bit more surprising because they've had the time and the experience. They have the manpower.
Yeah. You would think.
You would
think.
You would think.
You would think. Oftentimes, the bigger the brand, at least in the last year or so, in our experience, the bigger the brand, the less resources they seem to want to flex. And it's the little guys that are, much like watches. You know what I mean? Like, much like watches, some of these little micro brands are coming on strong, doing stuff and making, I'm not saying just making cheap stuff. I'm saying they're making legitimate contenders, and they realize that they don't have the brand name cachet that goes back 100 years. So they have to be like Avis and try harder. And they are. And they're making some really great stuff, So in this hobby,
especially
in this hobby, there's no such thing as resting on your laurels or believing that your brand cachet will get you through. You have to always be, it's not always be selling, always be closing. You have to always be satisfying the customer's needs, wants, desires, thinking for the next thing. And that's why, I hate to say it, I'm not always the biggest fan of what they do, but one brand that at a minimum, whether you agree with them or you like their products, you don't like their products, you agree with the business model, you don't agree with the business model, one of the brands that has seemingly taken this to heart, at sometimes I could argue to a detriment where they're treating the customers like R&D factories, but Wim is really pushing the envelope of let's make sure we're always addressing the issue. For what it's worth. They make great streamers. I still don't like their amps, but to each their own. But yeah, as for me, Pitt and Giblin was exciting. The musical fidelity was a huge surprise. No idea. I had no expectations. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't hear the previous generation New Vista product. It had been so long since we had done a musical fidelity piece. So I was not prepared for how much I was really gonna love that product. As for everything else, Sunday's video, very pleasant surprise. I think Sunday's product creates a lot of problems for some of the bigger brands, although you could argue this brand is also very big, but you'll understand. And then we just took, we took delivery of a product from a brand that we honestly did not expect to ever get to review something from again. But I believe they're under some new management, and we just got their flagship integrated amplifier, and talk about checking the boxes. I'm excited. to bring you that review. It's a little ways off because there's a lot to get into. It's a very, very future forward piece, but it's got me excited. All right, let's move on. Christopher, with CDs exploding in popularity recently, do you think there may be a renewed interest in Blu-ray and 4K discs? Okay, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here.
CDs are not exploding in popularity.
Look,
Rant over.
Yeah, look, are they exploding in popularity? Are people, younger people especially, or people my age and older who, let's face it, we go through nostalgia cycles? Are we feeling nostalgic? Are we enjoying revisiting things from our youth a little bit more than maybe we did a couple of years ago? Sure, why not? Does that mean that CDs are ever going to explode and come back the way that they were at the peak of their power in the late 90s, before Napster? No, absolutely not. No. And I think that we need to understand that, and we need to temper, like, I get how it's exciting, and I get that for the purposes of, moving the needle, if you will, tickling the algorithm, like these types of things get people excited. But it also becomes kind of a conversation around like NFTs, where it's like, or crypto, where it's just like, boom, it's like really big now. And so people are like, I need a CD player, and then I need to get this, and I need to get that. And then 6 months down the line, and it's like, remember that? No. You know what I mean? And so, first of all, it's grown in popularity, but it's just the reselling of commodities that are already on the market. People are buying CDs for $1, $2, or they're going on eBay and getting these whole boxes and buying whole collections for nothing. And it is driving the cost of these secondhand products up. But it's not as if new CDs are just being stamped out. And remember, like, VHS had a little bit of a, ooh, kids are discovering VHS. And then all of a sudden, like, the Disney VHS tapes were selling for hundreds of dollars each, and maybe they still are. But like that kind of died down. Record vinyl went through the roof, and they started pressing, and they're still doing all of that, but it definitely is kind of plateaued, and it's better than it was. Vinyl was all but dead. Now it's definitely a format that is still in current existence and circulation. But no, I don't. I think CDs are growing in popularity in a rediscovering sort of way, not in a, oh my God, we're going to start firing up all the CD plants again, and suddenly all the artists may do limited runs, special editions, just like with vinyl, like limited runs or whatever, and sell them at shows or make them special and make them capsule type products. But like, are we going to be pressing millions of new CDs, every new album, every Tuesday, like we were in 98, 99, 2000? No. Will there be a renewed interest in Blu-ray and 4K discs? Even less so, in my humble opinion. Even less so. Not to say that collectors and physical media, and there aren't boutiques out there. Sorry, Nick, and all my fans of physical media. There are boutiques, but again, as we joke about things in this house, it's like, zoom out. When you're in your bubble, and you're like, oh man, this is the biggest thing ever. And then you zoom out and you go, yeah, okay, go talk to 10 people on the street, strangers, outside of your bubble. What was the last CD they purchased? You may not get an answer. And out of 100 people polled, you may get 2, 3. But if we're all here in our bubble, like everyone's like, oh, I got this, and it's fine. It's fine. But it's important to kind of try and keep things in perspective. That's just my opinion. I saw a bunch of stuff that I need to catch up on here. Upgrading, wow, thank you so very, very much for your support. Upgrading from my beloved 2018 X900F 65-inch to an 85-inch, 7, 8, 9. Any big real-world difference between the 7 and the 9? I really trust your work and love how you focus on how things feel, not just specs. Good to know you're in a better headspace now. If you have the budget, I would buy right and buy once for the foreseeable present, and the Bravia 9 is that TV. Side by side, Bravia 7, Bravia 9, everyday content and viewing. Once you get used to both TVs, are you going to notice like a night and day difference if all things are equal? I wouldn't go so far as to say it will always be a night and day difference. Difference, yes. 9 better than 7, yes. Is it always going to be appreciable? Maybe not. The 9 is the best TV, in my opinion, that I feel Sony has ever made in the flat panel era. The 7 represents what is arguably their best value for dollar performance versus price TV that I think they've made. I don't know anything about the Bravia 5, so maybe I'll have to adjust my thinking about the 7 once we get to play with the Bravia 5. But that's how I feel right now. So if you want to have the peace of mind, yes, the Bravia 9 is where I would park my investment. And because you're going from 2018, it sounds like, let's buy the best thing we can right now. Let's get 5, 6, 7 years out of it. That would be the Bravia 9. If you don't think you're going to hang on to a TV that long, best value for money, Bravia 7. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Please share your top 3 bookshelf speakers for imaging that are also not fatiguing or bright. Well, don't know budget ranges. The Sonus Faber Concertino G4 that we just reviewed was pretty phenomenal. Not bright at all, not fatiguing at all. Image pretty good. Disappeared orally, a little bit of, not as wide as, say, like Focal Diablo, whatever, but very good between the speakers and very hard to, audibly locate in space. So they're very good. They're very expensive. On the more or less expensive side, ELAC, what is it, Kristi, debut 3.0?
3.0. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, solid.
Those are great speakers.
Solid speaker. Not fatiguing at all. Image very well. Let's give them one more.
The SVS.
SVS Nanos were really good. Now, some people might argue that those can become bright, so those kind of fall into the category that I feel about, like Sonus Faber Lumina 2s. I don't find the Lumina 2s bright. Extended, yeah. Get right up to that point. Are they as forward as B&W 600s or 700s? No. They're not like that, but they're not ELAC either. But they image really, really well. Same with SVS. But some people may take those two products and go, oh, that's a little too spicy for me. But those would be some of my recommendations. Polk R200, definitely more in the ELAC vein, not fatiguing. It's not going to be a huge, expansive, like totally three-dimensional soundstage, but image between the speaker and all that very, very well. A little power hungry. Hard to fault that speaker as well. Polk R200. Don't need to get the special edition one unless you want the nicer finish, but don't need to, spring for it.
What about the MoFi source points? The 8s or something.
SourcePoint 8 is a great imaging speaker. It's just a beast. It's a big speaker. I mean,
I loved that speaker.
It's a big speaker. I mean, you could, the Concept 300 from Q Acoustics, a little older in the tooth right now. And if we're going SourcePoint 8, I have to include Concept 300 bookshelves. Those image so well. Now that is a wall of just wow. But that's a big bookshelf, but you probably pick them up for $2,000 a pair at this point. They've been around so long. Another budget option, actually cheaper than the ELAC, but that was surprisingly competent in the imaging department. I don't know if they're still made, but if they are, correct me if I'm wrong, Kristi, Fluence XL8S. I want to say they're about $1.99 a pair. Surprisingly competent. Oh, Kanto YU passives. Also competent, budget, pretty decent imaging speaker. So you got like 6 out of me, 6 or 7. So, alrighty. Let's see. Where'd you guys? No, John. What about it? As John says, what about the Sony SSCS5? Nope. Do not recommend that speaker.
Great
Sorry.
kindling.
What's that?
Makes great kindling.
Great kindling. Thanks for having a sense of humor, John. Appreciate it. Let's see. James says you can pick up B&W Duos really cheap now. I don't, that doesn't surprise me if true. Kef R3 Metas, again, yeah, another one. Super neutral. Never going to probably offend anybody, to be honest. Let's see.
The SourcePoint 8s are on sale, by the way. I just dropped a link in the
Okay.
Chat
What
box.
are those going for now?
$2,200 a pair
Wow.
with stands.
With stands?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
If you use the link that I included in the chat box, you'll get that deal.
Wow. That's pretty good. Imaging, yeah, okay. I was about to say the Wharfdale, the new Wharfdale, was it Super Denton or something like that? We reviewed it like at the very beginning of the year, or was it last year? But imaging, it was never fatiguing. It was a nice sounding speaker, very just pleasing, looked nice, has a good vintage look. But imaging was one of the things that I was like, it wasn't the best. Let's see. I think I'm all caught up. Oh, Wirehead. Here we go. Any opinion on Marantz eventually issuing a working firmware fix for the M1? I reached out to Marantz about this, and we went back and forth. And apparently, and I can confirm this at least on our end, there's something about when I was making changes to stuff that caused there to be a hum issue. When I took their advice, unplugged the M1, plugged all my speaker cables, my interconnects, my sources to it, then plugged in the power cable, and then turned it all back on. We haven't had a noise issue since. So something I did, and something that I think customers are doing, is creating the potential for that noise issue to be there. They are aware, but I don't know if it's a firmware fix. Their fix to me was very straightforward. Please unplug everything from the back, including the power cable, make your connections, then the power cable, turn it back on, you should be fine. And they were correct. So I don't have any more information than that, but that is what worked for me and Kristi, and it resolved the issue. Let's see. Do I need an external amp to bring most from my speakers? Set up KEF R11 and R6 for centered, powered with Marantz Cinema 30. In case of external amp needed, which one would you recommend? Buckeye Purify. Do you need? No. Is that to say that you wouldn't benefit from an external amplifier? It is possible. It is possible you could benefit. Would I recommend that you try a Buckeye Purify amplifier? I wouldn't say not try it. The reason I say it that way is I've never heard this amplifier. I hear very nice things about Buckeye as I understand it. They provide good value for money. And since they're using what I assume are readily available Purify modules, it stands to reason that you will have some consistency of performance with other Purify type amplifiers or based amplifiers that I have come in contact with, to which I can say they are theoretically likely perfect amplifiers, deliver on their promises, deliver power cleanly. They're just not a sound that I tend to like, but that's me. That's just me. Other amps that you could try if you don't want to go Class D, you could do Emotiva XPA series. Those will drive the KEFs to their fullest potential without breaking the bank. That would be a very cost-effective solution. If you want to spend a little bit more, you could go a little bit more upmarket and look at stuff from the likes of, say, Musical Fidelity, Macintosh. Trying to think, there was one other one in there. But yeah, there's a lot of options, but the Cinema 30 is a really, really great AVR, and it can drive those speakers, fine. It may run out of some headroom, some dynamic capability if you really are always pushing things to that nth degree, and that's what a separate amplifier is going to do for you. It's not going to necessarily change the tone of the speaker, change its performance. It's just going to take that strain off, in which case even a simple stereo amplifier may be enough. It's not like you have to have all of your speakers on a separate amp. Let's see. Revel. Thank you. Glenn. Okay, good. I'm trying to see. I think I caught up on everybody again, so now I'm looking at any of your fun little conversations that maybe I missed. Is there anything that caught your eye, Kristi?
No.
No? Okay. You're a collector. Yeah, I've caught up. Can't get. So yeah, if you missed the budget audio file, what about Galleon products? I believe.
Is that Thomas's
Yeah,
stuff?
I think Thomas wrote me an email.
Yeah,
He reached out late last year, and I think he wanted us to take a peek at his new solid state amplifier, but there was something about the timing, or I can't recall if it was something about he reached out, but there was a timing thing, or he was looking to do a few reviews like all at once, and we just didn't have the room in our schedule, and didn't want to kind of get put into
we don't do that.
We don't do launch videos if we can help it. So I have nothing against Galleon. I just haven't heard them. I wouldn't say no. I just think the timing on that request from last year just wasn't ideal. But I totally would take a look now, for sure. I live in an apartment building and can only listen at medium to low volume. Should that factor into which speaker I choose? It very well could. You may be a great candidate for a powered speaker, because those tend to be a little bit more articulate, a little bit more appreciable at those lower volumes. Same as a speaker that may have a slightly higher sensitivity, take a little less effort to come to life. And when I say effort, a little less power. You may also want...
This person left another comment in the chat box since the super chat.
Mm-hmm.
They have a very powerful amp and want to know if your answer is depending on your answer, wants a floor standing recommendation under 3,000.
I mean, again, if you want to listen at lower volumes, one of the things that may make a lower volume speaker seem more interesting, exciting, contrasty, appreciable at those lower volumes may result in an upper mid-range and treble that is a little bit more energetic, because at those lower volumes you'll still get that articulation, that inflection point, in which case you could be looking at something like a B&W 700 series if your amp's powerful enough. Those excel at low level listening. The Sonus Faber excels at low level listening. Klipsch Heritage can be good at low level listening. But then Q Acoustic Concept 50, excellent speaker for low level listening and very apartment friendly, because they're small, they're very compact. You're going to probably want to shy away from speakers that, while they probably measure very, very well, take a little bit of volume to get that dynamic contrast to come to life. So yes, I'm talking about like Kefs, Elacs, things like that, Revels to a certain extent. Because again, we're trying to maximize intelligibility and contrast at those lower volumes. So yeah, those would be some of my recommendations. Let's see. BioConnect Core or Theater for 50s or 90s? Stay tuned, Maximilian. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Let's see. Raptor, what did I miss? The thumbnail does not inspire confidence. Well, in case you didn't know, I think about a week ago, it was announced that Samsung, who owns the Harman Group, which Harman is JBL, Revel, Lexicon, Mark Levinson, blah, blah, blah. They acquired Sound United and Sound United's portfolio of brands from Massimo for $350 million cash. That's all the details that were given. But that is what we started this stream discussing. So when the stream is over, you can go back and get my full thoughts on that. But that may be what you missed. Let's see. You're looking tired. I am tired. I am. Again, at the beginning of the stream, I let you guys know that for the last month, Katie has gotten into a weird, Katie is our dog, Katie has gotten into a weird routine where she wakes me up at 3 in the morning every day. And so yes, from 3 a.m. to about 4:30 every morning for a month straight, I've been awake. So I sleep in shifts. I don't know why, but that may be why I look tired. So
People are weird.
Yeah.
Why leave comments like that?
I don't know. It is what it is.
What's your goal? I mean, if you're concerned, say as much.
Yeah. Chris, if you could sit down with one musician for drinks, dead or alive, who would you pick? I'm going with Woody Guthrie. Oh, man.
One musician, dead or alive.
Wow.
David Bowie.
Ooh, good answer.
I mean, imagine the things he could tell you, the stories he could tell.
Yeah.
What an innovative artist.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know, there's two artists that I've always wanted to speak to. There was 3, but I get to speak to the 3rd one now. We've become friends. I would love to have a conversation with Michael Stipe. I would love to pick his brain. David Bowie's a good one, though. That's a really good one. Michael Stipe has always been someone that I've wanted to speak to. And I would have loved to talk to Kurt Cobain, like, towards the end. Like, the movie, I don't know if you guys all, the movie, it was a Gus Van Sant movie called Last Days, which was kind of a fan fiction, if you will, an imagination of what it might have been like to be Kurt Cobain in those last days. And it's not like a super crazy exciting film. It's a long slog of a movie. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting. And I would have loved to had the opportunity to like speak to Kurt, not because I could have saved him or anything like that, but I would have loved to have the opportunity to like speak to him at the beginning and like the end, you know, knowing that you can't change anything, but just to see the dichotomy of those two moments, if there was a change. That always fascinated me. But yeah. Oh, you guys are Wolfgang, Mozart. Yeah.
I think Lady Gaga would be fun to talk to.
I think she would be fun to talk to. Yeah, I think she would too. Gosh, there's so many. I'd have a blast talking to Elton John. Assuming Elton John would want to talk to me. I hear he can be quite kind of cantankerous. Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. Madonna would be fun.
Yeah.
I think Madonna could be interesting. For better and for worse. There was a time where maybe Michael Jackson could have actually been pretty fascinating. Yeah, I don't know. Those are some of my answers. Johnny Cash, great stories, probably.
I'd like to sit down with Trent Reznor as well.
Yeah, he would be good. Yeah, there's a bunch. Clem just says, sorry I'm late. Happy Friday to you guys. Better late than never. Thank you.
So kind.
Oh, Wirehead. What? Wirehead got to hang out with Scott Weiland before and after a few shows when they were in Toronto. Guy was amazing. We were just talking about him last. Well, I don't want to say we were talking about him, Kristi, but we were
we were watching
some TikToks, and one of those 25 songs turning 25 this year TikToks came on, and Stone Temple Pilots was one of them, and I was like, oh man, that's a band where I just sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't forget about them, but then you hear them and you're just like, oh yeah, that was good stuff. So definitely Prince, Dwayne Prince. There you go.
Hey, Dwayne.
Eugene says Alicia Keys. Chris agrees about Lady Gaga. He says he likes her new album.
Jimi Hendrix would be great.
Yeah. I don't know. He might be tired. So anyway. Trent, yep. Eric Clapton. You know, Eric Clapton lived in the same neighborhood as my dad when they lived in Ohio. And I've never met the guy, I never got to speak to him, but as I understand it, he was a very, very private person. But they lived in the same neighborhood. Everyone's gotten to meet Weiland. It's in Chris Veltman. I met Weiland in Pasadena the night before his first arrest.
Random.
Totally random. Let's see, speaking of random, I'm trying to think now, that just spurred my memory. Like, what is the most random, quote, celebrity, like random celebrity sighting that I've had? who did I run into? I think it was Christian Slater outside the Viper room at a gas station, like pumping gas. Christian Slater and I chatted for the time it takes to pump gas because we both were coming out of the Viper room, and I don't like the Viper room. I'm not saying that to like be cool and awesome. I was actually leaving early because I'm like, this place is trash. And that's where I ran into Christian Slater. He had a vintage Mustang that I thought was really cool. That's what sparked the conversation. Freddie Mercury. Vadim says Freddie Mercury. That would have been good. All right. Now everyone, Liam Gallagher. You got to meet Liam Gallagher just before they made it. That's cool. Wow.
Vadim says that his favorite quote from a musician is, "I'm just a music prostitute, dear." Guess who it was?
Just a favor. That wasn't Sting, was it? Sting said something along those lines at one point. He might not have used such strong language, but he said something along those lines. Clem says it sounds like Mick. Kay saying Prince. You're probably right. You're probably right.
In the suspense, Vadim.
Yeah, Vadim, who was it? Who was it, Vadim? So, all right, let's see. We've had a little fun little side quest.
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury? Okay, well, look at that. Freddie Mercury. Are there any other side quests we need to go on right now?
Chris Veltman has had all the life experience. He says, I used to work in Skid Row, loud music all the time on the 7th floor. Turns out it was the Smashing Pumpkins studio for practicing. That's cool.
That is cool.
1979. That was from a 1979 interview.
Oh, okay.
According to Vadim.
Okay. The deer should have given it away. Yeah. Remember, I'm tired, so I wasn't going to get it. Oh, boy. What time is it? It's 11, so we've been at this 90 minutes. You guys got any other last-minute questions?
Something fun.
Yeah.
Something fun.
Yeah. I love all the music conversation. I really do. Here we go. Owen, Wim Ultra Amp or Ever Solo Play? Possible reviews. Let's just let the cat out of the bag. I've got the Ever Solo Play in-house. Had it for a couple weeks. It's not on the schedule yet. I'm honestly not 100% convinced that I am going to commit to a review of it at this point. Just because there's so many other things that we have kind of coming up and that we're doing and things that I'm currently writing and outlining, that it's not that the Play is a bad product, but it's also not incredibly revolutionary. It's just kind of more of the same. And if you follow that market very closely, I think you'll understand what I'm saying. It's not that it's necessarily bad, but at the same time, it doesn't. My typical criticisms of these types of products, especially ones using this type of amplifier topology, it's still there. It's still there. It's still an issue for me, in which case, full disclosure, keeping it real with you guys, I don't know if I want to commit to weeks of producing a video review of this product where my ultimate conclusion is, look, you guys have to do you, and it will be the right fit for some of you. You will love it. It will scratch the itch. It will be everything you want it to be and more. I personally, I'm a huge fan of Eversolo. I buy their products with my own money. I'm not confident I would buy this one. And that's kind of the end of it. And I just don't know. I don't know if I'll commit to a full review of it for that reason, because inevitably, when I sit here and I say, yeah, I still don't like TI-based chip amps, the hate train just comes, and it's not worth it. You know, I was hoping that that wasn't what this was, but it is. So, but yeah, I have it. Dwayne, good afternoon. Just saying hi. Jumped into the stream 5 minutes ago. The person for me would be Prince as an artist or Quincy Jones as a producer. You would probably get a lot of a really, really solid big picture look at creative life in the music industry for sure. For sure. Let's see. Jack, 11 a.m. Thought you're all in Dallas. West Coast move. Oh, we don't. We split our time. We were splitting our time at the beginning of the year between Dallas and our home. So, yeah, we're always in random.
My family lives in
Yeah.
Dallas. We used to live in Texas, but
Yeah.
now we don't live there.
Yeah. This is a great question because this is changing for me. How do you decide whether something makes the cut for a video review or not? Great question. In the past, I pretty much tried to produce everything that came through the door, win, lose, or draw. I know a lot of people, maybe not watching this stream, but will criticize this channel or channels like ours. Be like, oh, they only say positive things and they only da-da-da-da. Not true, at least not on this channel. And I would commit to reviewing everything, win, lose, or draw. And if anyone's like, yeah, but he loves everything, take it up with LTA, take it up with Denon, take it up with B&W, take it up with Marantz, take it up, like they have all been on the not so nice side of things. Samsung, they all know that I'm not one of these people where you can curry favor with me. That said, going into 2025, while I tried to do everything I could prior to this year, I gotta be honest with you. It's not that I'm burnt out. I just don't like repeating myself if I can help it. And so if I don't think after living with a product for a couple of days or a week, if I really don't think there's something different for me to say, either that hasn't been said by other people, like if I'm going to just come to the same consensus as 7 other people, I may skip the product. I may just skip it because it's like I'm not adding anything to the conversation. And so at that point, while you may want to hear my opinion, and I deeply appreciate that and respect that, and I don't take it for granted, I'm putting such a premium on my time and my energy. Like I want the content to be better, not more prolific, you know? And that's the thing. Like we went for, a year or so ago, we went to 4 videos a month. And then we started doing the Unplugs, and then it went back to 8. And now we're doing kind of a mix between 4 and 8 a month. And I'm really happy with that spread. And that also means that I can't do everything. But at the same time, when I do it, when I put my mind to it, like I want it to be the best, most concise, tightest, thing that I can. And so I'm becoming a little bit more of a creative. I'll put this. I want to become a little bit more of a creative minimalist where I don't want to just have content for the sake of content. I want content to mean something to me, because once it means something to me, you'll see that in what I'm producing, and hopefully it means something to you, because it's not necessarily for me anymore. Like I'm really comfortable with what we have, the freedom that we have. What we've built here, the community that we have. And so for me, it's what keeps my interest, what keeps me going, what do I think benefits me, benefits you guys, as opposed to just, yep, this was announced 2 days ago, I've got it, check it out, blah, 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 and then boom, we're on to the next thing. This just came out, check it out, because I've done that cycle, and it gets exhausting. It gets exhausting. So for me now in 2025, like what makes the cut has It's just, does it speak to me? Do I think there's something interesting here? Whether it's expensive or cheap or whatever, I don't care what the price is. It's just, is there a topic for conversation here and discussion here and learning and progressing and just moving things along in a just a much more kind of experiential way, as opposed to just having it all and being first or whatever. Now, sometimes I commit to things that are experiential, and then in spending my time with it, yeah, it's like I turn out to be really jazzed, and then by the end of it, I'm not into it as much. And you've seen that happen this year with like the Grand Horizon. Like, I was so pumped for that product, so pumped. That arguably was the product that I wanted to review this year more than anything. When I saw it, I'm like, I have to have that. And then I got it, and I was, opening it up, unboxing, I'm like, yeah. A couple days, weeks into it, I'm just like, man, it's not quite, why not this? Why is this? Why this? But by that time, I've put so much energy into it. So while, yes, it ultimately ended up being a little bit more of a critical, Marantz probably thinks a negative review. To me, it was just like, look, I spent the time. This is my experience, and they're not all winners. So let's see. I just saw a bunch of questions here. Great question, though, Random. I really appreciate that. Did you guys stream Andor? No. Hey, babe, did we make it through the first season of Andor? I don't think we even made it through the first season. I think we started it.
We started to watch it, and it was a little slow, I think. And Andrew is, going to out you again here. You're just not a Star Wars franchise fan.
No.
And so it was not something we kept up with. Now, I've heard really, really good things about the latest season. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dwayne just says the second season is epic, and I don't doubt that. But it's not something we've been looking at.
Yeah.
Or watching, sorry.
Vadim, I see your comment here. I'm going to get to you in just a second. But Clem is still planning on doing some outdoor stuff and redoing the in-ceiling. What projects you got coming? Yes. In fact, I was hoping by this point to be able to share some of the progress. However, we got pushed back on scheduling 3 weeks. We had a team that was supposed to be here at some late April to start working with us on some retrofits, some larger scale projects and plans. But some things didn't get shipped in time. Some things arrived with a missing piece here and there. And so all of these conversations, because of logistics, all of these conversations got pushed 2-3 weeks. So that meeting is starting Tuesday and then Wednesday of this coming week. We got 2 meetings, one Tuesday afternoon and then all day Wednesday. From there, I hope to have a clearer picture of what changes we're going to make, what we're going to do. Because like I said at the beginning of this stream, you were out on your walk, babe. But I said, when we started this channel, we didn't know that we were going to become, this was going to be our job, and we were just trying to stay busy. And then when we moved to this new place, we just kept hitting the ground running. And now that we've had some time to live here, like we made some mistakes. But I'm trying to be very deliberate about correcting those things. And I say it, I feel like I say it every stream, let's buy right, buy once, do it right the first time, which in our case is going to be do it right the third time. But those meetings are taking place Tuesday and Wednesday of this coming week. And then hopefully shortly thereafter, we'll have a better idea and plan of what we're doing. But yeah.
We need rock, Clem.
We need to get rock
we
in here.
need some rock in our yard.
Yeah.
I want some plants. I want some furniture.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I could be completely satisfied with an A9 or a Sonos whatever sitting outside, because we have a covered porch that if you put this, your speaker under there, it acts like a horn,
Yeah.
and it's great.
It's awesome.
Like Andrew's parents are about to spend an ungodly amount of money on their outdoor speaker system when they already have speakers underneath their covered porch.
Yeah.
Which it puts out a lot of sound.
Yeah.
They're Focal speakers, I believe, and it's great.
My parents have their whole house is Focal, and they sound great. The outdoor stuff, they have an outdoor stuff in their courtyard, and my mom, she's never had distributed audio. Like, to my parents' defense, they put my brothers, and my needs like ahead of their own and all of that. And like my brothers were very into the sports and stuff like that. And now that we're all grown and obviously out of the house and all of this, they built their kind of forever home about a year ago. And they're doing things for them, probably for the first time in their lives. And one of the things that was an option when they built their house was obviously distributed audio. And when that came up as an option, then Dad and my mom called me and they're like, well, should we do this? And I said, let them run the cables, but don't let them put their contractor grade speakers in there and overcharge. And so they ran all the wiring, and then we got to talking and they settled on Focal, and they absolutely love them. And now my mom's turned into a real Focal fan, because now she's like, well, I want everything to match. And so they have Focal out in their front courtyard, and she plays music for the neighbors at this point. Like, I don't quite understand it, but yes, when you start to walk up towards their new house,
It's a whole experience.
it's a whole thing. Like
She has word art everywhere. So if you need inspiration,
you walk towards their house and you go on a quest. It's a bit of a quest. You have a score as you approach the front door. You have inspiration as you get closer. Like she puts you in a vibe.
my favorite thing about your parents' house
Yeah.
are the water features in the front courtyard.
Yes.
The little fountains.
Yeah. And you'll always kind of know what vibe you're going to be walking into based on the courtyard playlist. Like if it's just sort of like piano, smooth jazz, and the percolating of the water fountains, it's like, oh, okay, everyone's probably chill, maybe watching golf or just quiet. But sometimes you'll walk in and it's like, you'll be approaching the house and it's Katy Perry. And you're like, oh, she's cleaning or she's working. She's doing business. Or she's running around the house, rearranging like 9 things, or there's a contractor over because she wants to replace the lights in the kitchen or something like that. So it's an interesting thing. But yes, they put Focal speakers under the overhang of their patio, but she wants to hear sound in the far, far corners of their yard. So now they're doing Focal 4.1 in the yard. And it's great. It's gonna be great.
They're gonna be the party house. And apparently all of her neighbors copy all of her designs. and so now she's seeing all of what she does.
Yeah, in
the decor wise and stuff everywhere in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And she's not happy about that. It's funny.
I hope none of her neighbors watch this show.
Oh, I hope they do.
Oh, gosh. All right.
You're being talked about secretly behind your back. So stop the copying. Come up with your own idea.
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh.
She's an influencer.
She is. Jerry Robinson is definitely an influencer in every shape, way, form, use of the word. PJ writes, my German Shepherd would wake me at night. It wasn't medical issue, so I focused on anxiety and started doing puzzles, mental stimulation at night. Yeah, that's...
She does. My poor sweet girl.
Who's in the shot, sleeping.
Yeah, she has... I think she does have anxiety. Maybe this is TMI, but my ex-husband just like completely pulled the rug out from under the two of us, and left, like, under the cover of darkness, essentially. And I think that scarred her for real. Like, I think it totally scarred her. And even these many years later, if we pack a bag,
Yeah.
like if we're going to go on a trip or something, whether she's coming with us or not, the minute we pull out a bag,
Yeah.
like luggage or something, she gets so nervous and she starts following us everywhere. She will not let us out of her sight, So I do think she has some anxiety. We have tried, or Andrew has tried this week to take her on car rides, do things that are going to be more mentally stimulating. She gets 2 walks a day. So we're not really sure what's going on.
Well, she spent 2 months with my parents at the beginning of this year, and my parents spoiled her rotten, and my dad loves her to death, and she played him like a fiddle.
Well, to be honest, they had just
Lost their dog.
They had just lost their dog, and their dog was diabetic, blind, deaf. It had so many issues.
Yeah.
And your poor father was that dog's caretaker and basically
24-hour nurse.
24-hour nurse.
Yeah.
And had to do so many things to make sure, on that dog's behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Catering to it, was up at 2, 3, 4, 5, like constantly throughout the night.
Yeah.
For that dog. And so I think Katie came in and realized that he was at her beck and call.
Yeah.
And so that
Her
became
being a husky.
Yeah. She was like, I'm on board.
I'm going to take advantage of this. Which I think is very evident, because when my dad and Katie came to pick me up after being gone for those weeks or months, she didn't even, she paid me no mind. I'm still hurt. Still hurt. Yes, guys, appreciate the Katie making an appearance, doing Katie stuff.
Yeah, but she needs to figure out this business quick.
She does.
Because we're both having
Thank you.
no sleep.
Yeah.
We still love her to death, though.
Love her to death.
She's still a part of the Best Friends Club.
Yep, Best Friends Club for sure. But boy, Best Friend Club founder could use a full night's sleep. Daniel, have you ever tried Genelec speakers? I have. I love Genelec speakers. I really do. I haven't tried any recently. Haven't had any in the new house. But back in my old California homes, I did have. Did we just get a delivery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
FedEx.
Did have some Genelec. Oh, if it's FedEx, it's some new wardrobe pieces.
Oh.
Super excited about that. But yes, I have played with Genelec. I have nothing bad to say about them. Great products. Great products. So.
Excuse me.
So yeah, I think that means I have caught up. Yeah, Wirehead, I would agree with you. The recent stress we've all been dealing with contributing. Yeah, we're hopeful. I would have thought, like, the first week it happened, I was like, okay, that's it. But she patterns so. Oh, she patterns. And once she gets in a pattern and likes it, she's almost impossible to break off of it. Like, she has now developed a pattern where, we're all adults here. We're getting older. So our mornings, like a lot of people, start with vitamins or prescriptions or things like that. And Kristi and I, do our vitamins and our prescriptions at the same spot in our kitchen every day around the same time. And she has picked up on the fact that she doesn't want to be left out of this ritual. So she will sit in front of the pantry where our medications are. And as Kristi's pulling hers out, as I'm grabbing my vitamins and whatnot, she'll sit there and wait. And then I take mine, Kristi takes hers, and then Katie gets her vitamin.
Which is a treat.
But she won't leave the pantry until she gets a vitamin.
She's freaking adorable,
And
guys.
she's adorable like that. She doesn't bark for it. She doesn't beg for it. She just sits. Same thing when I'm making dinner or brunch, and I'm at the island and I'm chopping and stuff. She sits right next to the island. She doesn't beg. She doesn't do this, but she waits because she gets a small Katie snack meal. The chef always makes something, from the kitchen.
Andrew's the chef.
Yeah. So
He's such a good cook.
yeah. What did I make last night? I made something new last night.
We made the Tooch. We made the Tooches.
There's someone I want to talk to. Stanley Tucci. Yo. I want to be on your show. You can come on my show. We
made his pasta dish. I found the
Yeah.
recipe, I don't know, probably through Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's zucchini
Yes.
pasta. So basically you fry up some zucchini slices,
Yeah.
and then you mix it in with fresh basil. Mm-hmm. And honestly, that's just, I don't know much more because you made it. But it was good. It's very light.
You super light. Now, the recipe calls for you to fry the zucchini in vegetable oil, olive oil, or some type of oil. Now, we have an air fryer. I don't like. It's not that I'm against, frying things in oil. It's just it's very messy. It's time consuming and all that. And I like the air fryer. If I had to make this dish over again, I would do the skillet oil versus the air fryer. Because I do believe that the zucchini was supposed to have a bit of crunch, not just kind of a char or a flavor to it. It was supposed to have a little bit of snap. And the air fryer, admittedly, without breading, doesn't always accomplish that the way that oil will. So if I make this again, I will go the full Stanley Tucci and use the oil. But anyway, you just take 2 zucchinis, just cut them into little quarters, silver dollar, whole pieces, fry them up, put them to the side. Now I added onions to it too, and
A sweet onion.
And French fine sea salt, which we get from a store in Maine. It's not as expensive as you think. Anyway, did all that, air fried that for 20 minutes. Bucatini pasta from Rayo's, dry. And then save about half cup of the salted pasta water, starchy salted pasta water. Threw all of that into a large pan, mixed the water, grated Parmesan until I had a bit of a base going, basil the whole bit. And it was delicious. It was really, really good. I'm pretty much only making all of our pasta sauces from scratch at this point. Like, I don't do jarred stuff because it's actually kind of easy to make a really strong sauce from scratch. It's really easy. I don't know why for years I thought it wasn't, but to each their own. Very good dish.
Clem says that the Tucci's pasta fagioli, or however you say that, recipe is his favorite.
Okay. Shoot, I don't remember. Guys, if you're into food, this is a channel I just started following on YouTube. As I understand it, this person has another channel, this creator. I just kind of discovered them myself. So if I'm about to give you a name, you're like, oh, I've been watching that guy for years. We get it. Where is he? Let's see. But his content is excellent. His recipes look very approachable. And I'm just trying to find...
Are you talking about the comedian?
No, Joshua Weissman Recipes. His channel is blowing up, but he's only made like 8 or 9 videos. Joshua Weissman Recipes, great channel, awesome production value, very approachable food recipes. And then of course, Mateo Lane, his cooking stuff is just awesome and entertaining. Stand-up comedian Mateo Lane.
He's so funny.
He's so funny. Great content. But those are 2 great people to watch and follow if you want kind of more practical recipes and stay-at-home meals that I think people are genuinely going to love. Of course, you can watch like Bon Appetit and all those like, higher-end Condé Nast and stuff to get really fancy. But those two channels are much more practical.
Matteo is just pasta stuff.
Just Italian food, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do enjoy cooking a lot. I wouldn't say that I'm good at it. In fact, I don't know why. I take my cooking I don't take it seriously, but I take it personally. Is that weird? Like, I don't consider myself a serious cook. I'm not like my brother Josh, where it's like, my brother has the pans. He has the knives. He like has the sous vide machine and all of this. Like when my brother sits down to cook, if it takes him 4 hours to do it, that's the best 4 hours of his day. And he's not one of these like barbecue guys where it's like, yeah, I just sit out there with the smoke. No, like he likes the kitchen cooking stuff. I'm not serious like that, although I find myself walking into like Williams-Sonoma and Crate and Barrel lately and paying very close attention to, like, I need new knives, or we definitely need new pans. Our pans are absolute crap.
Oh, they are so bad.
If you guys have any pan recommendations, I'm willing to spend on a very good set of stainless steel pans. I don't want any of that microplastic crap like we have now, because it's just a joke. Anyway, I find myself getting more and more into cooking. I'm not serious. I don't do all the tricklets. I don't know all the techniques and everything just right. But boy, when you spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour making a meal, like, I don't know if I've ever been as like personally vested in what other people think of what I've created than a meal.
Oh my gosh.
A meal. Like, I spent 3 years of my life making a movie, and I had people eviscerate it. And it didn't bother me as much as like the other night I made filet mignon.
My baby is a delicate flower.
I made
when it
filet
comes
mignon,
to
and
what you think about his food.
Yeah, and this one, I don't think she was jazzed enough. I don't think she was jazzed enough about it, because it was really good. Like, I don't pat myself on the back a lot, and if you were a fly on the wall in this house, like, I'm pretty self-deprecating when it comes to like how my inner monologue is towards me. Like, I don't hold myself in very high regard, but it was good. It was really, I cooked the shit out of that, and not in a well done way. Like, I nailed that.
He did.
I nailed it.
Here's the
and
thing.
she's just like,
here's the thing.
yeah, enlighten me.
And I did. I enlightened you that night because your feelings were hurt. And I felt badly that he he was not getting the reaction that he clearly wanted. And I tried to tell him, like, with steak, I'm just not much of a steak person anymore. I don't know. And I enjoy it. I appreciate a good, well-cooked steak, but it's just like, it's just not my favorite thing. Like, I'm way more excited about the pasta dish that he made, just because it's something that I would enjoy eating more.
It's
I
fair.
can't explain it.
It's fair.
It's not. It's Andrew's steak hurt. Yes, he does. Like, I feel really badly, and when we sit down to eat, I'm like, he's watching me like a hawk. It's become a little intimidating, to be honest. It's like, can I just sit and enjoy the meal? Like, now I have to worry that he's gonna be I'm excited looking enough, like, while I'm eating. It's just it's funny.
But I have come to this realization that there are a few things that I didn't realize I was quietly passionate about. But yeah, cooking. I don't always enjoy cooking. There are definitely days where I'm like, because I cook everything. There are definitely days where I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to. Someone has to cook for me today. And that means DoorDash. But when I do, like, I want it to be good. Like, I plate. I try. Most dishes, like, I do the whole Bobby Flay, like the
Oh, yes, he's
drag of
very
the,
fancy.
Like, I plate.
I love it.
I do the whole thing. Can I share a dream? I see some questions, and I promise you guys, you know I'll answer them.
Johnny B says that his gourmet chef son, hovers over him for a response. I feel you.
Yeah.
Anyway, get back to your dream.
My dream is, look, I mean, I get it. Life is life. And, you know, we're not always able to do the things that we want to do all of the time. But we've been together now for, gosh, 7 years. And
We met in 2017.
2017. So 8 years. This is 8 years.
Wow.
8 years.
It feels like I've known you all my life.
It does. But back to me.
Okay.
I can count on one hand the number of meals that my wife and I have had together at a table in our home, because you guys may think we're bougie, you may think we're elitist pigs, but we sit cross-legged on the floor at our coffee table for dinner every night.
I freaking love it.
Watching some weird show, or lately some flip-off show. And so I can make the nicest steak that I feel I've made probably in a year, and we're still eating it on the floor, you know, blah, blah, blah.
You know what else we do? So when we eat on the coffee table, another one of Katie's pattern rituals is that she has to also be served something. And so we buy her sliced turkey meat from Whole Foods.
Yep.
And she gets her servings of the turkey. Or
Yep.
no, is it chicken?
It's turkey. It's
Okay.
it's all natural turkey, because that's what the vet said was good for her.
That is those are our dinner.
That's the routine.
nights.
And then we put it away. We just, we eat it and then put it in dishes, and that's that. And I look at so many homes. I look at so much architecture. I look at so many things, and I look at all of the effort. I look at the fact that we care about what the plates look like. I'm a stickler for glassware. She's a stickler for silverware. We're talking to you about pots and pans and stuff like that. And like we appreciate craftsmanship. We appreciate all of this stuff. And it's like, but at the end of the day, like, I want a table. I want a table. I want chairs. I want to sit like an adult of a certain age and have a meal properly outside of a restaurant. And it's never going to happen.
It might.
It's not. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. In fact, we had a table that sat 6 or 8 in Austin. And when we sat at it, when we were cooking for your friends, like, and even then we usually sat at the bar. It was only if we were cooking for your friends or your roommate at the time and trying to impress her boyfriend. And somehow I ended up cooking the meal for her boyfriend. It's weird. It's weird, but those are the only times we've sat at the table. And we're talking about rearranging this space. We're talking about what the next step is for the house. She wants a banquette, and I'm sitting here going, is it going to be a banquette for food? Or is it going to be a banquette for me to edit on? Or is it going to become a second office? Like, are we going to use it? I don't know, because we've only ever eaten at coffee tables. It drives me crazy. Like, when I was 18, 19, 20, you know, in college and stuff, and you pony up to the floor, you know, just lean over the sink or something. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you do. But I'm 45. Come
You're
on.
not that old. You're not 45
I'm a month
yet.
away from 45.
Are you?
Yes.
I thought you were going to be 44.
What year is it?
2025.
I'm 44. Sorry, 44. I don't know. 44 years old. Like, I deserve to eat at a table.
You do. You do.
All right.
That was fun.
That
was great. Did you guys enjoy it? I loved that.
Appreciate all of the pots and pans recommendations, guys. Really do. Getting back to HIFI, I have decent.
Working bacon.
What? What?
Oh, Johnny B's just over here cracking me up.
All right. I have decent electronics with Win Pro for EQ and Polk R600 medium-sized room. I'm considering either upgrading my speakers or going with the KEF LS60s. You said the KEFs can be tuned. Going on to part 2 of the question. To preference with multiple profiles, can you please explain how that is different from having a 10-band EQ that allows you to save various profiles? It's not. What basically, like the LS60s being smart speakers, inside the app, yeah, you can create custom presets. So maybe you can create, using the EQ system inside that, you can create something that's a little bit brighter for older recordings. And you can call that, you know, whatever you want to call it. Then you can have something that measures a little bit more flat or doesn't make any changes. And then you can have maybe something where you boost the bass up a little bit. Excuse me. You know, for movie watching, or you can have something that pulls the bass down for late night listening, and stuff. So part of that is, yes, you can use EQ to create customizations, but you can also, within those profiles, you know, activate other features of the speaker, be it subwoofers, you know, loudness, things like that, and you can all save those into presets as well. That's what I was talking about. You know, if you have something that's working for you, you know, Win Pro with Polk R600s, if that works for you, there may not be a need to look elsewhere. But if you're looking for something that is a little bit more nicer, all-inclusive, with the same kind of level, honestly, of functionality as a Win Pro, the KEF LS60 is a great step up. Great step up. PJ says all clad copper core. Good to know. Good to know. Hexclad 12 set. You can thank me later, Daniel Flores. Okay. Noted. 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 Wallaby. Good morning, A&K from Oz. New on Mini DSP 2x4 HD. Any issues to inject it in 5.1.4 with AVR and power amps, both for stereo listening and movies? Any AVR settings to pay attention to when tuning? If it's going right between the preamp outs of your AVR and the inputs on your receiver, or I'm sorry, your amplifier, there's nothing really to be aware or worry about. What I would do in that situation is you have to decide if your receiver, if you're going to be using their room correction, in which case you should do Mini DSP first, do what you need to do there, then leave it alone, and then run their software, so that their software takes into account anything you may have done with the Mini DSP. If you're using the Mini DSP to do the room correction because it supports things like Dirac and whatnot, then make sure you don't use the Room EQ software inside your receiver if it has it, and set everything manually inside the receiver, and then run the Dirac in the Mini DSP. But that's about it. Other than that, just pay attention to the manuals in terms of cable connections and whatnot. Everybody's system's going to be a little bit different, but yeah. Let's see. Oh, here we go. HIFI rant. Why can't we get a universal remote that works as well as my Apple TV one? Seriously. Is there something on the horizon? I mean, honestly, I think at this point, universal remotes are, I don't want to say they're dead. I mean, it was a much bigger market 20 years ago. With the advent of HDMI and CEC getting better and better and better each and every year, I think that's eaten into the universal remote craze. I also think that with smartphones kind of doubling as remotes, that's also eaten into the need for a universal remote. In higher end systems, touchscreens, tablets, and things like that still have their place, but those are kind of custom options and obviously can get costly. You can do them yourself, and you could implement a Control 4 type system, but for the most part, people like the simplicity of something like a Apple TV remote. I know I do. It's the only remote we really use. In fact, I'm kind of ticked off when a product doesn't allow me to continue to just use my Apple TV remote for one reason or another, and I have to then go to the 2 remote kind of solution. I don't like that. Is there something better on the horizon? Is there something more universal than the Apple TV? I don't know. I don't know. All right. I am seeing all the cooking stuff, so I'm gonna have to catch up on this. Knives, I'm getting knives review. Yeah. This is exciting. All right, guys. I think I'm all caught up. I think I'm going to call it there. I think this has been a really fun stream. Thank you so very much, as always. Do you have anything that you want to say, Kristi?
I mean, I always have something I want to say.
Do you have anything that you would like to say that won't get me in trouble?
No.
No.
There would be nothing.
Okay.
I have the things that I would say. I don't know if they would get you in trouble, but it probably wouldn't do us any favors. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
All right. So we'll leave it at that. Yes, we have a brand new video on Sunday. I think you'll enjoy it. We enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, very eye-opening. Next week is going to be different. Next week's going to be busy because there's some scheduling things happening next week. I don't know exactly how the next couple of videos are going to shake out. I will keep you posted. Do plan to be here Friday and Sunday. I just don't know what kind of content you can expect, and that's what makes it all the more exciting. So yes, Sunday, brand new video. Not going to want to miss it. Very probably helpful to a lot of you right now, especially. And then in the coming weeks, lots of exciting things going on. There might be a traffic jam of really awesome developments happening in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So be sure to keep it tuned here for that. Until then, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us for another great live stream. You guys are awesome. And yeah, have a good rest of your Friday. Good start to your weekend. And we'll see you guys Sunday morning. All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.